have you here today
Thank you.
with Mate. Cheers to you, brother. Thank you for being here.
Cheers.
Absolutely.
It's bad luck to not drink after a cheers in
I
Australia.
know, right?
You've always got to take a mouthful afterwards.
Well, we're going to do it one more time then. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So, Chris, what are we doing here today? What is this drink that we're drinking? Let's go back a little bit and introducing yourself and get into the Mate.
Sure. So, what is Mate? How did Mate start? That's a great question. I have spent most of my life in restaurants, hospitality, general manager, basically running other people's businesses. Had my own business in Australia before I moved to America. Folded that one, came out here. Was working for a company called Fifth Group Restaurants. And you might know them. They've got, most people know their South City Kitchen restaurants.
Yeah.
I was managing their Echo concept in Buckhead. And when I first moved here, I was looking around and sort of saying to my wife, something's missing, right? You've got everything that's drive-through. Something's missing. I don't really understand. And in Australia, we drive through for our alcohol, right? All our liquor stores are drive-through.
Drive-through.
But most of it, right? Most of the other stuff isn't, right? So I found it very weird. So I'm working in this restaurant. COVID hits. And I go from working 65, 75 hours a week to 30.
Oh, wow.
So now I've got all this time on my hands. So during that COVID time, while everyone else was watching Tiger King and Netflix and everything else, I wrote a business plan and I wrote a financial plan and I wrote a budget and put a bunch of design behind opening a store. And it was actually going to be called the Thirsty Australian, right? So that's why that's still on the back there. And I got 4 weeks to opening said store, did my first social media post, had the store renovated, stock was purchased. It was going to be out in Kennesaw.
So it was a physical store, not an online store.
No, I had a physical location. I'd done everything. And I got a phone call from the state of Georgia saying, we made a mistake with your application. You can't open that store there. Apparently, they hadn't looked at my distancing survey and realized I was too close to another store.
Oh.
So I had to fold everything, right? Sell everything that I had, send everything back to the distributors. And that was not a good time, right? When you lose 5 figures, deep into 5 figures, I sort of sat there and went, what's next? So my wife and I, she's from Iowa. There's this great pizza place around the corner from us that does taco pizza. It's like, you know what? Let's go get some comfort food. Let's drink some beers and let me just cry for a minute. So we're sitting there and she goes, everything's back on the table. We've got all this money in the bank because we'd saved up so that you could run this business.
Right.
What now? And I was going to work with a brewery here in Georgia to make my favorite beer back from Australia. It all fell through. And then I sat there. I was like, well, I still want to do a drink. I don't know what, but I still want to do a canned drink. And we just started talking, right? And we probably spent 2 or 3 hours in that pizza shop, drinking beers, eating pizza, talking about what I could do. And the theme that came out of it is everything has protein in it. Why don't we have an alcoholic protein drink? Where is that? Why is that not even a thing? Did some research, found out it had been illegal for the longest time, but it wasn't anymore. So they just changed the laws, maybe 6 months beforehand. so I started the process, and one
No-brainer.
thing led to the other, led to another, led to another, and just over a year later, I had Mate in a can.
Nice, nice. And I gotta give it to you. It's a nice packaging.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you go with the Mate, which is unique by its own.
Right.
Um, and then you got our little buddy here.
Absolutely.
And he's holding all of these cans on his hand. That's pretty cool.
My theory was, if I'm going to do it, I've just got to be me.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm Australian. And so let's make it Australian. Let's call it Mate. Mate is the colloquial term for friend.
Yes.
Right. So who do we drink with? We drink with our friends. Okay, well let's do this. So
I'm gonna be honest, like since I met you, like it's been like a couple of the month that I added the Mate vocabulary in my day-to-day language. Before was pal, but now it's Mate. It's fun though. I like it.
it's a theme. People like it. I've got quite a few Americans that work with me that now say g'day, right? They now send it in their emails and they go, I've just picked it up. I can't help it anymore.
Yeah.
I have no problem with people using Australian vernacular to supplement their own.
I think one thing that I see a lot here in US, people get to drinking and finding their favorite when they can create memories with that either bottle or drink or cocktail or whatever it is. And I think Mate is one of those that can create some memories, and then people can remember it. Either gonna be like the taste of it or the packaging or yourself behind it. It will create some memories. So
Yeah, you've got a good point. I mean, I years ago went to Gary Vaynerchuk's wine library
nice.
event in
I'm
New
a
Jersey.
big fan of him.
Big fan.
Yes.
I 100% can see why, and I love the man himself. And I did the VIP tasting. So I got to, I think there was maybe 20 or 30 of us in the room. We did a private wine tasting with him. Fantastic. I mean, if he does another one, if Wine Library does another one, I do recommend you go and spend the money to do it. It's definitely worth it. But you get a question, right? You get a photo. He signs. I had the first shoe drop that he ever did, so I got him to sign the shoe. And I asked, my question was, what drives the American spending? Where do you think? How do you think they spend? One word answer is all I'm looking for. And he goes, emotion. He said it's all about feelings.
Yeah.
And you're right, because it's a feeling, right? You buy it because it feels good.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so I've carried that advice from him through all of it.
No, I mean, without a doubt, people come to the store and you see, like, it happens all the time, especially with wine. You're like, okay, these two bottles are exact same thing. It's exact same formula. It's a different label. Are you purchasing a label? Or you're purchasing the juice? And at the end, they come up with all of the logical reasoning behind the stuff. But at the end of the day, you can see it's the memory that bottle created for them. And even if it's the same, but it's in different bottle, they're still not gonna take that because it's a mentality thing.
Right.
So you combination of the mentality and the emotion would create that memory that people becomes a fan and become loyal to your brand.
Absolutely. And I am starting, again, Mate first hit, and it didn't even hit a shelf. It hit a floor in a liquor store. I had to build my way up to a shelf exactly 2 months ago. Right.
Nice.
So, but I'm already developing brand loyalty. People buy it once. They then buy the rest of the other flavors to taste them. And I'm discovering, right, people are texting me, this lives in my fridge now.
Yeah.
And anyone that comes over is like, oh, what's that? Let me have a taste of that. So it's good. It's exciting.
Yes, it catches the eyes. And so let's go back. You used to drink beer.
Sure.
Get your taco pizza,
Absolutely.
and then focus on the next moves. Well, first of all, what is your favorite beer?
I'm a Corona man.
It's a lager.
I've been drinking Corona for a long time. My favorite beer ever that I would always drink is not in America. It can't be sold in America.
Darn it.
It's Australian. I was going to try and partner with a brewery to do a copy. I can't because obviously now I've got this. But my favorite beer is a beer called VB, also known as Victoria Bitter. So it is a bitter style beer that was designed to match up against Asian food. So much like there's a lot of Mexican food here in America, in Australia, because we're so close to Asia, we have a lot of Asian food in Australia. And it goes really well with
Asian
soy
food.
sauce, like all that sort of stuff, as a really good bitter just to clear the palate. So that would be my favorite. But here, Corona.
If you want to kind of like compare it to something here, what is the style of it? Is it the lager? Is it something like bold?
So its
Is it like
style is
IPA?
bitter, and the bitter beer isn't really here in America. It's very difficult to sort of find something that is
Close to,
similar, that is close to. But otherwise, if I can't get a bitter, because it's also very English. So a lot of if you go to the UK, that English bitter is also where it's sort of from as well. So here, Mexican lager is my go-to, my
Go-to,
style. Yeah.
Nice. So you mentioned you drink wine too.
I do enjoy drinking wine.
So let's get to the wine a little bit.
Sure.
What is a drink of your choice?
If I could drink anything all the time, it's champagne.
Okay.
Big champagne guy. I don't think champagne should be relegated to parties or
celebrations.
You know,
Yeah,
celebrations.
yep.
Should drink it all the time. Bollinger, Ruinart, Blanc de Blanc, Paul Roger, especially
nice.
the Sir Winston. I've had that a couple of times. Very nice. I'm just trying to think of a couple of others. My wife is a big Verve girl. My favorite champagne, which is a bit tough to find, Laurent Perrier Ultra Brut. It's got the blue label, silver writing. Super bone dry.
Yeah, I haven't
Very
seen that.
clean. Very, very clean. There's a liquor store down in Midtown that stocks it. But it's tough to find, especially here in America. It's tough to find. Back home, when you go to the Europe or UK, easy to find. So, but yeah, champagne's definitely
Definitely got to put it on my list for that bottle. But yes, we actually had a episode about champagne.
Okay.
Few weeks ago, and I gave a commitment to my friend Josh, and I was like, going forward, I'm gonna have a bottle of champagne per week, at least during the weekend. I think it's a disservice to drink champagne or any type of a sparkling just for the celebratory moments. I think everybody needs more champagne in their life.
Oh, of course. It just makes you feel good. It's just, you're just happy when you're drinking champagne.
Right?
I mean, again, I love my whites. I love my reds. I love all of the sort of different styles. Definitely open to drinking all of them. But my go-to is always champagne.
Okay. Next time we're gonna have some champagne with some chicken wings.
I've got some bottles at home. We can definitely pop. We got some great stuff.
Yes. Okay. So coming back to Mate. We started the Mate. Is it safe to say we started in 2022?
Yeah, so brought on a beverage formulation company and signed the documents with them in October 2022.
22. October. And so how did you come up with this? Was that something that you partner up with someone to make it for you, or you got the taste of it? You blended? Like, how did that work?
So basically the way that it works, my beverage formulation company that I use, they're very large. They got Celsius off the ground, for example. So they did a lot of the original Celsius formulations, which is kind of how I chose them. They did Killcliff and they did Joe Rogan's Killcliff flavor and stuff like that. So I thought that was a perfect sort of
to go.
partner to go with. And they send you this big questionnaire and they go, what do you want? And I already had a rough idea. So I'll even take it one more step backwards. When I was doing the store, obviously reps were coming in. It's a brand new store. And one rep brought in maybe 30 or 40 seltzers in a box, all different brands. Big brands, small brands, didn't matter. When I shut the store, I called him and said, hey, do you want to come and get these samples? I feel really bad. I can't, buy anything off you. He goes, Chris, you need them more than I do. Close the store and drink your sorrows away.
Oh, God.
Great. So I chilled them all down. And my first market research, once I decided I was going to do something, I had this huge box and I tasted every single one of them. And I did the exact opposite of what most people do. Instead of going, well, what do I like about them? I said, what don't I like about them?
Okay.
Because if I come up with a huge list of what I don't like, surely the list of what I do has to be way smaller. And it really was. So I had expectations. Had to be still. I was done with sparkling. I was over the carbonation. I was over the heartburn. I was over the bloating. Had to be still. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Had to be vodka. I didn't want sugar or malt brew. I don't like it. It repeats on me. And it just has a bit of a weird, fake sort of flavor to me. I don't know if it has that to other people, but to me, it wasn't right. So there's some big glaring things, right? That the two things. Then there was the protein. Has to have protein. Can't do it without it. We can have a look at the different styles of protein to use. But at the same time, one of my best friends is gluten-free, dairy-free. And I was sort of saying, I want to be able to drink it with her. So it has to be gluten-free, has to be dairy-free. And then they go, well, what's the closest thing on the market to the flavor profile that you're looking for? And so you work backwards from there. So I, again, tried a bunch of stuff in that tasted like lime, tasted like watermelon, pineapple, peach, all the different types, and worked backwards. And so you give them, they use a flavor house, and you give them a rough idea of what it is that you're looking for, and then you start from there. And the first iteration of of what they sent me was unique.
That's a good word to put.
I will say it was unique. There were lots of changes made. There were lots of variations done to it. But really, it was like, what's the closest thing on the market right now that we can target? And obviously, they'd say, we're not going to copy it, but give us something to work with. And then you go from there.
So I got a few questions. Well, first would be, I like the strategy of like, let's go with the cons. Like, what is it that I don't like about it? And I can like, I think that's, when you look at it for the entrepreneurship, that would be actually like make it easier too. You have to answer right there. Just make sure the product you're making doesn't have this taste and doesn't make you feel like that.
Right.
And you're good.
My theory was, I didn't want to be just another. I didn't want to be just another happy dad or another mum water or another whoever. I just didn't want to be them. I wanted to be mate.
There you go.
So how do I be mate? Well, let's have a look at the cons rather than the pros to begin with.
Awesome. So you took care of that. And then when it comes to, I mean, obviously you had them to send you samples of seeing like which one you want to go with or not. And then comes to the flavors. Like I see the flavors you picked even is unique. I don't see people coming out with the product going for watermelon. You see usually like a strawberry. But we're going with watermelon. Lime, you can see that, but mint is next to it, which makes it, oh my God, super refreshing.
So much better than just straight
lime
lime.
alone. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And they got the pineapple, and then we got the peach. I'm gonna make a link the peach to the Georgia.
Correct.
Is that it for
That's
you?
exactly it.
Really?
Started in Georgia, had to do peach.
Okay.
If this is where home base is going to be, I need a peach one.
There you go.
Yeah.
Like it. Love it. So what about the rest of them?
So pineapple, I grew up quite poor, and one of the things that we were given, I'm the eldest of three by 10 years, and because I was the oldest, I got some very small perks as we were growing up. And one of the things we did was pizza once a month, homemade pizza. Regardless of your thoughts on it, I believe pineapple goes on pizza. I'm a big fan. So we would make Hawaiian pizza, and we would get these cans. In Australia, the brand's called SPC, and it's chunks of pineapple. You take the chunks out. I've got pineapple juice in the bottom of the can. That was mine. I didn't drink soft drink as a kid or anything like that. So for me, the pineapple was, again, going back to Gary Vaynerchuk, feelings, nostalgia, all that sort of thing. That's a nostalgia one, right? That takes me back. And it's not a sweet pineapple. When you taste it, you'll really understand what I mean. It still has that pineapple tartness, but without all the acid. So it doesn't feel like it's eating you. I'll do the lime and mint one last, seeing as we're drinking it now. Watermelon. There was no good watermelon on the market. It was either a Jolly Rancher watermelon flavor, right? They bomb it. They bomb it with too much sugar. It's just not good. Or it doesn't really taste of watermelon. It's too watery. And it was funny when we were doing the watermelon flavor, we would go through it and I'd taste it. And I'm trained level 2 WSAT with wine. And obviously I've spent this many years in restaurants, so I can really break down. Yeah. So I can really break down flavor profiles. And I'd say to them, all right, guys, like when I drink this, in my mind, I've got that first bite of flowery watermelon that's too close to the center, that's not really all that good. Or, all right, we've gone too far the other way. Now I feel like I'm biting into the rind. Like this is where I want to be. It's got to be juicy, but not too sweet, but it's got to be clean, but it can't be too light. And the watermelon really was to see if we could make a great watermelon. I mean, there wasn't an emotional attachment to it. It was, again, going back to the cons, it's not on the market. There's nothing good watermelon on the market. So we set out to make a great watermelon. And then lime and mint. What was lime and mint? Lime, I wanted it citrus, but I didn't want lemon because so many people do lemon.
Right.
And then, but citrus by itself. So we did just a plain lime, but it was so sharp. And I went, after the first round of iterations, okay, let's get mint. Because, again, been making cocktails forever. Mojitos, Caipirinhas, all these sort of cocktails, yes, they're lime and they're refreshing and they're, bright and all that sort of thing. But they've got that mint finish, which really cleans it out. Now, I don't know if you know this, but there's about 70 or 80 different types of mint that you can put into a drink.
Wow.
I was very simple. I want flat leaf garden mint because when we go back to that sensory moment, most people have had mint in their garden at some stage, like a regular garden mint. And when you smell it, that's what I smell, is that garden mint bush. So lime and mint wasn't the first thought. Yeah. It was lime, and then mint came in afterwards.
Yeah. Did you have any other flavor that you kind of like scratched it at the last minute, or were like, okay, we're going to eliminate this?
I've shelved a couple of flavors for a revisit. Now that I've got a better understanding of how things work and how to do things, and how to sort of communicate with the flavor house. And I mean, my man from Bev Sauce who I used, I called him Mr. Wizard because he was building my drink. Now that I know how to work with him and really talk about flavors, there's other flavors that I'm looking at that I will revisit and hopefully do maybe another 4, 2 or 4 in the future. But we'll see. we'll see what the market wants.
Just a suggestion from someone that I tried it and I'm like a big fan. I think it's good if you put a variety pack out.
So I have been asked by every store that we have mate in, when's the variety pack coming out? My graphic designer is currently working on a variety pack box. We are looking at doing all these things. Once I get to speak with my distributor further, I will confirm that they are happy to take on said variety box. Because again, it's another investment. But yes, variety box is definitely, we're already moving in that direction.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm ready to go to the next one.
Which flavor would you like?
Well, now I want to try that pineapple. Pineapple it is. Oh, thank you.
There you go. Get mine out while I'm at it so that crack that one soon.
Chris, how long have you been in US?
I'm in my 7th year, I think. I'm not really sure. 6 or 7 years, roughly. I moved here from Europe. Oh, I can smell that pineapple from here. It just hit me. 6 or 7 years I've been here, and I'll be here for probably 6 or 7 more, I would say, before I'm ready to start looking at moving back to Australia.
We'll see what we can do to keep you here.
Might have to just fly back and forth and do both. But have a try. Tell me what you think.
The smell is really, really sharp. So with the smell, like, you're sommelier, so
sure.
When you smell something, you automatically start like creating the taste for yourself. Mm-hmm. You're like, okay, this is what I'm gonna expect from like tasting this. This is completely different when you drink it. As far as the sugar level, I like it. It's not overly sugary. The flavor is right there. It's not like one of those that is supposed to like taste like pineapple, but you don't get pineapple. You get everything but pineapple. But no, with this one, you get it. It's not like crazy sugary. Has a little bit of the sweetness, but there's something at the end of it that comes over here that I like it.
Yeah.
What is that?
So I can't tell you exactly
what
it is.
What's the feeling of it? Let's go with that.
But it was that design for, so that one's got a little bit more of an acid in there to mimic what a pineapple normally is. Because instead of bombing it, right. So if you eat pineapple or you drink pineapple, pineapple technically eats you back because of an enzyme that's in the fruit. So I wanted to half mimic it. I didn't want the whole thing. I wanted to half mimic it. So you are 100% right on the sugars. All the mates have less than 3 grams of sugar in each can. But when you partner up that pineapple with the protein plus the acid that we put in there, you get that juicy finish that sits underneath here.
I like it though. I mean, it's a good feeling.
We've had a lot of people mixing it with a shot of Malibu.
Ooh.
To get your, so your pina colada protein.
Nice.
Water.
Nice. I was about to actually say, I was like, have you ever done a cocktail with this? But now you just nailed it.
Yeah, so we've done a couple. We've done a couple of cocktails with the peach, definitely with the pineapple. I haven't really played with the watermelon yet. I'm still trying to work that one out myself. But and the lime and mint.
Mojito, there you go.
Mojito, Kentucky Derby, throw some bourbon with it.
Okay.
The whole works. Yeah, it works.
Nice. No, I like it. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers. And if you have a look on the back, only because you commented before, you'll see the koalas holding the pineapple can in front.
Pineapple is at the middle.
Right.
Is it for all of them like that?
That is all for all of them.
Oh my God, this is so attention to details. Well, great job to you guys.
Thank you.
Honestly. All of these are you or your wife is a help?
Me, myself, and I. So my wife is just the sounding board. She's got a fantastic job. She works for a Fortune 500 company. She's worked there for over 10 years. She has no entrepreneurial business thought of expanding out on her own. She's done that before. She didn't like it. She loves the corporate setting. Great.
Mm-hmm.
She excels in it. Fantastic. She loves her job. Her job loves her. So yeah, this is all. She just gets to listen to me complain sometimes.
That's awesome. So the first time I got an idea of this drink, I was like, okay, are you targeting athletic people or like fitness people, or are you targeting that? But right now I can see you can have a very broad like audience and customer, but I feel like you're perfect product for like people that are working out on a daily basis.
Yeah. I say we, I've got some very good friends of mine, spent years in the marketing space. And so I sat down with them, talked to them about it. We sort of went through some stuff, and we really highlighted probably three key demographics, I guess. What you'll notice is there's no alcohol finish. You can't feel the alcohol burn. There's no bad aftertaste through your nostrils or anything along those lines. So the first target market really was 21 to 28. College kids, boating, all that sort of thing, right? They've got some disposable income. They're kind of still on daddy's credit card. So they're still on, the payroll with mum and dad. So that was sort of target market number one. Target market number two was the LGBTQ community. They're very health conscious. They're very physical conscious. The colors lend itself really nicely to it. I've had quite a few of my gay friends go, this is really good. So that was sort of the second target market. And then the third one was, I'm 38. So if we use the sort of bracket 32 to, in your 50s, mum and dad, disposable income, have the pool at the back, like to stay in shape, still enjoy a drink on the weekends, but clearly goes to the gym, CrossFit, Peloton, all these sort of things where you work out and you want to sort of put back and you've kind of focused on your nutrition. This is great for that.
Yeah.
So, I say that is our target markets. But at Thanksgiving, I went and had Thanksgiving with some friends of mine, and a 71-year-old black man from Nashville, Tennessee, is telling me he loves the peach one with a splash of bourbon.
Okay.
That man was not in my target market group.
He likes it though.
But he loves it. And he doesn't live here. He lives in Nashville, comes down to visit his daughter, buys a couple of cases of peach, drives back to Nashville.
That's pretty cool.
So
that's pretty cool. But I can definitely see this gravitate the people that I work out on a daily basis towards them, because I've seen so many people at the gym that when I talk to them like, hey, this is the industry I work, they're like, oh, okay, I don't drink anything. I should not put any type of carb in my body or any type of like a not unnecessary sugar. But you drink something like this, like now you have no excuse for not getting drunk with me.
Right. I think people's drinking habits are changing.
Yes.
When we were growing up, it was let's drink till we're blackout drunk and we're trying to hold on to the ground. Right? That's not how people are drinking anymore.
Unfortunately.
People are more selective. I certainly wasn't selective, but they're more selective about what they're drinking. They like that lower ABV. This is 4.5%. And this really lends itself to, I wouldn't say sensible drinking, because drinking any alcohol would not be considered sensible, but more of a conscientious way of drinking, I guess, is probably the way I'd say it.
No, absolutely right. What do you think about the industry right now you're at? There's so many. I mean, obviously you're super unique and with this product, but as a category, you are in a hard beverage area and seltzers. Where do you see that? There's so many people I feel like got into it just simply because of the marketing part of it. There's so many celebrities in it. Um, I don't want to name them. Like there's a bunch of them
Sure.
out there. So what do you think about that? You are obviously got into it naturally. You saw where is the gap in the market, and you
Mhm.
went for it.
Yeah, I think White Claw really was the first, I would say, that everybody sort of knew.
Hmm.
Um, and it exploded onto the market. But White Claw is a sugar brew style, malt brew, whichever one,
It has malt, yeah.
malt brew. Um, so those big companies, right, the $1 billion companies who can make something like that,
Hmm.
really dove in. Right, they created a bunch of brands.
Yeah.
That was the next couple of years. High Noon came along, really being the first vodka based seltzer,
Hmm.
which everybody loved. Um, and then you're right, from High Noon, everyone looked at it and went, my God, there's so much money to be made here.
Yes.
So they just created something, right? It was anything. Let's just create whatever. Um, and what people I think forget is the brand or the celebrity behind it. It's not enough, especially now, because unless you have some serious following, and I like to use Happy Dad as the example, and I know they were in your store. They have a significant following,
Yes.
but even them are constantly traveling, constantly partying,
Promoting. Yeah.
constantly promoting, constant, like they are. It is a constant grind for them,
Hmm.
and I think what people do is they create something, they think it's going to be the next big thing. It goes to the distributor, and they're
It's
done,
up. Yep.
and they stop, which couldn't be further from the truth. Um, I mean, every single day I am in a store giving a sample, introducing myself, um, talking to somebody about it every day.
Right.
I don't get the opportunity to just hand it to the distributor and hope for the best. And I think that's where so many people are going to fail in this space. I think you're going to see that growth, right? You've got an entire section, huge shelves, and then it's going to naturally come back down to a more acceptable range of
Hmm.
products, I think. Um, and then, it will hit that happy medium. It's the same thing that happened with craft beer a couple of years ago. Craft
Right.
beer just went absolutely mental. And there's been something like 100 craft beer brewery closures last year alone. So there was just too many. And now it's coming back down to
It's
that
kind of like
equilibrium.
filtering down
Right.
to the ones that are like truly there.
Yeah, exactly. So celebrity celebrities also think the same way we do. Just because they're celebrities doesn't mean it changes the way that they think.
Right.
Everyone looks at George Clooney with Terramana,
Oh,
with Casamigos,
Casamigos.
or The Rock with Terramana, or whoever, and think I'm going to be a billionaire.
Next one. Yeah.
You probably not, actually. Statistically speaking, you're probably not. So I think that's par for the course, where unless you are constantly hitting the pavement, constantly driving forward, constantly moving forward, constantly looking at what the next thing is. Like you said, variety pack, I'm already working on it. Other flavors, already thinking about it.
Hmm.
You're just not going to succeed.
Well, I think like part of that is, Chris, you are in a field every day.
Hmm.
You're in a field every day. You're like, okay, I just heard somebody tried my product and said, hey, come up with this. another person said, hey, come up with that. You hear that feedback and you're like, okay, let me take it back and let me come up with something. But there are some people that I feel like from day one, instead of being business owner or being like entrepreneur in this field, they become a marketing ambassador.
Sure.
They're like, okay, yeah, I'm the owner of such and such, and they sit back, and then 2 years later, they're not even in history. They're gone.
Yeah, you've got to be careful of your ego. You've
Yeah.
really got to be careful because people love to say, I own this. Well, are you working to make this a success? And this
Right,
is the
right.
thing. I mean, I'm already talking to other places, other states. Even if I don't have it happen this year, I'm already getting myself ready for 2025.
Absolutely.
I desperately want to launch this in Australia, obviously. But I've also got a British passport. I'm technically also a British citizen, so I'd love to expand to the UK. So I've got
Nice.
these
Idea.
big, long ideas. I'm not in this for a year or two. I need to work hard now to make sure that in 8, 9, 10 years' time, and we're in a big brand new studio and you've blown up as well and you're the next Gary Vaynerchuk with Beverages
There you
and I'm down the road, we're having this conversation again and you're like, do you remember when we sat down? Like that's where my mindset goes. So yeah, you've got to just be in the field.
Absolutely. And we want you to like work hard on this and be right next to us so we can look up to.
Look, Total Wine has been very helpful in putting me in the first 2 stores here in Georgia. From what I can tell, we're doing well.
Absolutely.
And I intend to stay with said company for as long as possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great partnership. So let's go to the entrepreneurship of this. I know you said you've been testing other stuff in the past and worked or didn't work. Like, how is this whole path of being an entrepreneur, especially here in the US?
It sucks, actually.
Love that.
Yeah, if I'm gonna be really open about it, I don't really call myself an entrepreneur. I can't spell it, so I don't say it. It's look, I own my own business. I am a founder, I'm a creator, I'm a CEO. Regardless of how big the company is, I am the executive officer of said company. I think, and this is my own personal opinion, I think people get too wound up in their own head of what could go wrong. Stuff goes wrong all the time. Nothing in the process of making this went right. Every day there was something wrong. Every week, a mistake. I mean, my thing was when I first made this, one of the things on my tech sheet was 5% alcohol, 10 grams protein, because I wanted nice round numbers. And the guys were like, so we can, except it gets really thick. And I don't want a thick drink. I want something drinkable
Light and, yeah.
over, like just like we've had here.
Yeah.
This is probably the richest and the thickest of the 4, just because of how the protein works with pineapple acids. But I want people to be able to buy, let's say, a variety pack when it comes out, and they drink the whole thing when they're out on the boat. So, as an entrepreneur, business owner, you have to take the hits. I had the store, when you lose 50 grand, to be able to immediately pivot and start working towards the next thing, rather than sitting in that, I just failed massively. And it was a massive fail. I remember on the spreadsheet I had running, just an Excel spreadsheet of the losses, what I bought it for, what I sold it for, could I send it back, this, that, the next. And I remember looking at the spreadsheet and it said something like negative 53,000. And My wife was in New Jersey. She was at head office. There was nobody at the house. And I was just sitting on the couch and I just leaned back and I remember just sitting there and I just started crying for maybe 10, 15 minutes, I would say. And I remember sitting up, wiping my face and just going, you've got to get back to work.
So why do you think made you like that upset? That was that because of the loss, or was that because of the failure feeling?
Because it wasn't my fault. I think that was the thing that really got me the most. If I had failed because I hadn't managed the money correctly, or I hadn't done something right, I would understand. But I'd gone to the city council, I'd gone to the state government, I'd done stuff with the federal government to make sure all my licenses were in a row. And then they call me and go, we made a mistake, but you have to pay for it. And it's very tough. It's a bitter pill to swallow. And then the other thing is, I mean, I spent 18 months on this first project while we're still working in the restaurant. And it was, I think I cried for the time I'd put in, right? The effort. My wife had gone away on holidays. I hadn't, because I had to stay.
Sacrifices. So
there's lots of sacrifices. Then there's the finances. And also I think with having told everyone as well, oh, I'm opening this thing, and everyone's like, we're going to come visit. A drive-through liquor store. Oh my God, that'd be so amazing. I'd love to just drive through, throw it in the boot of my car, and I drive away. So I think having told everyone as well, so I think that culmination of everything just hurt me. And then once I'd let it out, wiped my face and went, okay, time to get back to work. Start thinking about things, booked in the tax accountant. Okay, well, how much money can I get back? Right? Because when you make a loss that big, while the business taxes you don't get a return on, you can take that loss and put it against your own personal taxes. So I got a huge chunk of change back, right, which lessened the blow, which was very nice. But I think if you focus on something else, something to move towards, a goal to move towards, a new finish line, a new fence post to go after, I think it makes it easier to deal with the loss. For sure.
Absolutely. I think what I get from this is like the feeling of you didn't even like try it and they took it away from you. You're like, okay, it's not like, just like you said, it's not like, hey, I did something crazy and I have to face the consequences.
Right.
It's just like, you guys didn't even let me to do it. It's fake hope.
Yeah.
Or whatever you want to name it. But what I love about this, Chris, is that the moment after the 50 minutes of sadness that you're like, okay, now I think I have like this enormous power just emerged into me. Now I have to do even harder to prove it to them that I can do it, and I can come back even stronger.
Yeah, it's funny. I was very good, I think, very understanding through this whole process with the various levels of government that I had dealt with. And for example, we don't have a box here, but when you put the box into the Georgia government, the state government, they take their time with it. I rang up and went, do you remember me? And they go, we do. I said, I need that box approved. On the phone. They're like, okay, we're just going to have a look while we're on the phone here. Yep. Oh, yes. Oh, I do remember you. Yep. I remember what happened. Just refresh your screen. Refresh. Oh, look, approved. So there, I think, the old saying, don't burn the bridges. could have. And look, I spoke to lawyers, right? I spoke to an owner, and he said, we can go after them in the court of public opinion, and you might be able to get some money off them, but you'll never do anything in Georgia ever again. So you need to decide what you want to do. And so I was really nice about it, nice with everyone. But when I needed my licenses approved, my boxes approved, just make one phone call. Do you remember me? Yep. Approved. So yeah, it
works out then.
It worked out. And again, if you look at everything happens for a reason. If that hadn't failed, this wouldn't have been born.
Nice.
And this has way far reacher possibilities
Absolutely.
than a single store in Kennesaw.
Rather than that. No. I love that. That's inspired me.
Yeah, I tell everyone you should try something once. Even if it fails, or you decide business owning, entrepreneurship is not for you, at least you tried, right? Because I'd rather sit on my porch, the can of mate in my hand at 85, 90 and go, oh, that was a wild ride, than go, I wish I'd done that.
Yes.
Regret's the biggest killer. But going, oh, made a few mistakes there, didn't I? Right? And then laughing at yourself is way better at the end of your life than going.
Absolutely. 100% agree. That's what my dad used to tell me, is like, hey, do it even if you're going to fail. Just do it. Because that regret at the end is going to kill you.
Right.
Yeah. No, love this. So if you want to say one thing in one word to the people that are starting, not necessarily in this industry, in anything.
Sure.
Especially to those that, like you and myself, came to US not many years ago. They're still fresh. What would that be?
Don't quit. Don't quit. There were many times where it'd be so. I'm such a good restaurant GM.
Mm-hmm.
I can get paid $250,000 a year to go run other people's restaurants easily. Had an offer the other day from a recruiter reaching out. Don't quit. Don't go back to what's comfortable. Try that thing. Because if you've got all those skills back there, you can at some point go back there if it all goes bad. Just don't quit. It's going to suck. It's going to hurt. There's going to be bad days. It is what it is. Like, if you've chosen this, it is what it is. Just don't quit. And you will see all those bad times make it worth it.
Love it.
For sure. Just don't quit.
So outwork, outlast people, and keep grinding.
As long as you don't quit, 90% of your competition will.
Yes.
At least. If not more.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't quit.
Love it.
Yeah.
So if you want to reveal some like mysterious projects in the future about Mate, if you want to give us like one or two of them.
Yeah, so I have a meeting in 2 weeks with another distributor in another state that my current distributor is not in. It's in the Midwest.
Nice.
I love the Midwest. They drink a lot out in the Midwest. They do love a drink. So I am pushing to try and really get out there. Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska. I think a lot of people ignore those areas thinking that there's not a lot of people. The most alcohol per capita, per person, per capita in the US is done in the Midwest. So I'm aiming. Yeah, it's 100% true. They drink the most out there. So I'm trying to get to, places like Missouri. I'd maybe Colorado. I think it'd be great in Colorado, on the ski slopes and stuff. Iowa, Nebraska, all that sort of thing. That is, first and foremost, that's going to be happening in almost exactly 2 weeks.
Nice.
So the other thing I'll tell people, if you are going to go into the entrepreneur space, business space, whatever space, nothing beats face-to-face. Nothing beats a handshake. Nothing beats being in person. So put some money aside to make sure that you can fly somewhere to see someone, because it's so much harder to say no to somebody face to face
Rather than on the phone.
rather than on the phone or through a Zoom
Email,
call,
yes.
through an email, anything along those lines. And if you make the effort, because in the world right now, effort, a lack of service, all these things are so prevalent. If you go the extra mile, people are shocked. Every time. You came in? Of course I came in. You didn't just call? No. Same thing here. This lady was like, I told her I'm going to be in a place called Okoboji, which is in Iowa, in 2 weeks, or I'm going to be in Australia in February, which we can do a Zoom call. She's like, I can do either Zoom or face-to-face on this date at this time. And I went, I'll take a face-to-face.
Love it.
Simple as that. So that's the first thing. Let me get you another one before
Sure,
we...
yeah.
what do you want? Peach or watermelon?
I want to go with that watermelon.
Sure.
You know, I'm Persian, so watermelon
Watermelon. I know it.
is our thing, you know? Thanks.
There you go. Obviously, the you know about the variety pack that we're going to be working on. So that little cat's out of the bag. We've got some really fun stuff happening with that variety pack. I just signed up with Crunch Fitness
Oh, nice.
to
I was
market.
waiting for that.
Yeah, to market in their fitness locations. I'm going to be doing tastings in those locations. First one is going to be in West Cobb, Crunch Fitness West Cobb.
Okay.
So I'll be doing tastings, samples, that sort of thing. The other thing I'll be doing a couple of little giveaways as well. I'll be giving away a year-long membership to Crunch Fitness as part of my partnership with them to a person. I will probably do that closer to summer.
There you go.
Do
You
that.
got it.
Do that through social media. And then I've got a couple of things that I'm looking at financially. I need to make sure that it makes sense. I need to make sure that I don't get too excited over here while I need to put money over here. I'm going to do my taxes first. First thoughts, tell me what you think.
Wow. Completely different as far as like a sweetness. Love it. Let me get another one. Well, first, at this point, I don't even taste alcohol,
No.
which is to me dangerous. Because,
Trade secret.
Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna like drink a couple of this, and then I'm gonna stand up and then face the ground. But oh my god, like this is refreshing, almost as refreshing as that lime and mint. I can see this with tequila.
So I have been asked for tequila ones. That is going to be a long way away. I am a tequila man. My favorite spirit's tequila. But I'm going to focus on this for now, get into a few states, expand a little bit, create some brand recognition before
Plus,
move
I
into
think
the
like
tequila space.
I feel like tequila will take away from like some of those healthy notes too. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna add more carb and less protein. But yeah, oh my god, I love it.
Yeah, watermelon is definitely a quick favorite that's coming up.
Without a doubt.
The other thing you'll notice is on each of the cans where it's got your mate or my mate, there's actually 4 different sayings.
Yeah, one of them was like good day.
Yeah, so the pineapple's G'day. Lime and mint is your mate, my mate. And then peach is cheers, mate. So they've all got,
cheers, mate.
it says cheers, mate on the back. So they've all got different ones too.
So you are really good at marketing. I don't know if it's you or somebody else behind this.
It's me, and it started with arts and crafts.
I think you're good. And then not revealing all of this at the very first can. You waited. And then the first one, you kind of like pointed at the cans that he's having in his hand. And then you told me like it's changing on each. And then now you're telling me about the writing right next to it. So
Yep.
what else is left? You're giving me a little by little.
Well, when we try the peach, I will explain to you the peach one, because the peach, unlike these, so the pineapple or watermelon, they're single flavors. The lime and mint is obviously a flavor. The peach doesn't just have peach flavor in it. To create a proper peach flavor. So peach is very metallic. So if you think when you bite into a raw peach,
Right.
or the skin's very metallic as well, metallic in flavor. Raw protein is also metallic. So that's, if you prick your finger and you lick it and it tastes like metal, that's what you're tasting out of it, is the protein. So we had to play around with that one to get it right.
So if I want to start working out,
Sure.
which I have,
Good. Got to stay healthy.
I know, right? So if I drink one of these a day and then after that go to the gym,
So this, I would say you drink it after, because this is not pre-workout. This doesn't give you the energy. This just gives you some more protein to recover with when you're on the couch.
nice. Okay.
Have dinner. Instead of a protein shake, you can drink this. Feel better about life.
I feel like this is really great. 6 a.m. on the way to work.
So I have been told by a few friends of mine, it's a great hangover drink,
Oh, really?
because there's no bubbles, so it doesn't upset your stomach. You can't taste the alcohol, so it doesn't upset you as general. It's got different flavors with enough sugar, even though the sugar's low, right, under 3 grams. It still has that little bit of sugar. But apparently it's great for a hangover.
I have to try it.
Wow. Just keep it in the fridge on hand, just in case. Better than Gatorade.
You saw my fridge.
I did see
Like,
your fridge.
it's
I was
loaded.
impressed. I was
is
impressed
loaded.
with the personal stock that you've got floating around.
Thank you.
I haven't had watermelon in a while, actually. It's been a minute.
This is good. I like it. Especially today in Georgia, we have a really nice sunny day after
It's beautiful out
after
there.
a couple of the weeks. Almost want to take it outside on a balcony and just enjoy the weather. I don't know if you smoke cigar or not.
I don't smoke cigars, no. I've had a few too many cancer scares in my family. It's like, you know what? We're just going to stay away
I'm
from
gonna
those
stay away
things.
from that.
Yeah,
Yes.
we don't need to, test the friendship on that one. But it's definitely that kind of thing. And what you'll notice is you haven't burped.
No.
Like there's no gassy
Carbonation
feeling.
or
There's
like,
no
yeah,
feeling just here. There's no any of it. And that's why I love the fact that it's still.
How many of these do you go through a day?
I have to be very careful. Can't get too high on my own supply. I need to sell it to make a profit.
I know, right?
But I try and hold off until the weekend, have a couple of drinks on the weekend. But I definitely have made something that I enjoy drinking.
That's
For
good.
sure. For sure.
I think that's the key. Like as long as you enjoy it yourself,
Right.
others will come along and enjoy it as well. I'm definitely enjoying this.
Yeah, it's
And then I'm looking at the stuff behind it. Gluten-free, dairy-free, it's a vegan, no corn syrup.
yeah. So we use high grade stevias. Gluten-free because we use a good vodka. Dairy-free because we don't use a whey protein. So we actually use, and I know people like this protein, which is why I'm happy to tell people what it is. We use a pea-based protein made here in the US. It's a company out of California. They do a great protein. It blends beautifully. There's no textural, residual, anything. And because of all those things, it's vegan. So, very good friend of mine's vegan. Again, same. And this is what I will tell people. When you're making your own thing, you can make it whatever you want because it's yours. So you want to drink with a friend of yours that's vegan? Make your drink vegan. You want, like my friends, gluten-free, dairy-free? Make it those things. You don't need to compromise. There's so many available products out there. You don't actually need to compromise on them. Now, some stuff might be more expensive than others. So again, your end cost might be different, but you can make it whatever you like.
It's in your hand.
Right.
Where do you see Mate in 5 years? Let's go with the expansion.
Sure. So, as I said earlier, Midwest, absolutely. See it definitely on boats. It's a real boating drink to me. My father-in-law has a 34-foot, 32-foot Cobalt boat on this lake. It's huge and gorgeous and
nice.
Everything you want it to be. Obviously, places like Florida.
I was about to say, we got to get you in Florida.
Definitely Florida, Texas. I would sort of like to just expand from where we are, rather than making. I mean, I know I'm going to do this with the Midwest with the jump, but I would like to be able to organically expand in that sort of direction. North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, obviously, because that's where it's made. And then I would probably, as bad as this sounds, stay away from California, just because they're a bit of a nightmare to deal with licensing. And
you think so?
Yeah, I've looked at some of the paperwork that I need to do, and again, you never know, right? This might get to a point where I've got a team of 20 people and I can palm off that legal stuff to someone else. Ultimately, in 5 years, I'm 38 now. I would love to be able to take Mate to Australia in the next maybe 4 or 5 years in some capacity. I will definitely get into that sponsorship route. I'm not sure what yet. I'm a big fan of the tennis.
Okay.
Right? Sports and that sort of thing for me. Big fan of tennis. I love F1, love racing. My wife, weirdly enough, is a big fan of NASCAR. So maybe put that big koala on the hood of a NASCAR going around Atlanta. You never know. I don't know.
You never know.
I think there's way more opportunity out there. I'd like to partner with someone like Peloton, right? Be the alcoholic drink of a fitness brand. Again, I'm not saying alcohol's healthy. You're not even allowed to. But I think heading in that direction, 5 years, I mean, I'd like to be in at least 15 states.
Nice.
At bare minimum, 15, 20 states. I got 50 to choose from. I should definitely be in 20 states.
That's great. I love it. I love it. I think... There you go. That's good. All right, perfect. Well, I appreciate you today.
Of course.
I enjoyed this a lot and enjoyed the conversation with you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I think we should definitely do one of these again soon. Maybe we
happy
can
to.
Put the champagne here at the middle too.
Like I said, I got a couple of bottles. Before we finish though, you've got to try peach on
Oh, I
air.
will. Definitely.
You've definitely got
Yes, let's do that.
Try that one.
Which one is your favorite? Now I'm telling you which baby is your
Yeah,
favorite.
exactly.
Yes.
There, I mean, I made them all, so I like them all. Probably, I
just
flop
love this.
between the lime and mint and the pineapple. I go between those two.
You said pineapple and
Yeah,
middle
lime and mint. Yeah, the peach I enjoy when I add a splash of bourbon too. And the watermelon's great. I'm drinking it right now.
Wow. Peach is good too.
So I'm told, and this is from somebody that was born and raised here in Georgia, it's the perfect unsweet sweet peach tea. So where it's not too much sugar, but not so much little sugar that it's unsweet, but it's still that peach actually tastes like peach tea, is what I'm told.
I can see that.
So
Yeah. No, it's very light. I like it though. I gotta tell you, my favorite lime and mint,
yeah,
and I really like the watermelon.
yeah. People do like the watermelon. It's a good one. I mean, I think I'm gonna, toot my own horn here. I spent a lot of time making them great. Focused on making a great drink.
You made it.
So thank you.
No, absolutely. Thank you. This tastes really good. Products are good, and I feel like they're good because you're behind it and you're awesome.
You are too kind. Thank you.
Thank you
Flattery
so
will get you
much.
everywhere.
I appreciate it. And
Absolutely.
cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.